Ever have a friend or a partner or even yourself say, I don't know why I can't get it together? The alarm goes off and you know you need to get your ass up, but it feels like your body weighs 1,000 pounds. You keep missing important dates, missing deadlines, canceling plans, or even neglecting the ones that you love. And people around you, maybe even you, start calling it laziness. But what if it's not laziness? What if there's more under the surface? What if what you're seeing and experiencing isn't from a lack of effort, but a symptom of something much deeper? In this video, I'll be talking about how untreated mental illness like bipolar, ADHD, or depression can be mistaken for flaws or irresponsibility. If you've ever felt misunderstood or even struggled with these signs, this video is for you. When we don't understand these symptoms or seek treatment for them, the effects can ripple through every part of our lives, often not even realizing it until it's too late. Let's unpack the signs, the consequences, and the steps towards healing. I'll dive into how conditions like bipolar, ADHD, and CPTSD, or even PTSD, can go unnoticed and impact relationships, careers, and self-worth. Unresolved mental illness can cause chaos, disconnection in every part of your life. It's really tough to explain. It's not like it's total chaos going on in our minds. It's just a way of thinking. And that way of thinking is like having, it could be like 2, 3, or even 4, maybe more horses pulling your brain. You know that how how they show the horses pulling all the body parts. That's a good way to explain it. If untreated, you don't know what's going on with you. You would think that your world is coming to an end. You would think that people will abandon you. You would start to neglect the people that you love. You will start to become jealous without even knowing it. You might find one thing to cope with it, all the while not even knowing that you're isolating yourself from others. Before I got diagnosed, I was just thinking I was lazy, wasn't really motivated, or just didn't even feel like doing it. Once I got diagnosed with ADHD, they just gave me medication for it, not really explained it to me. A year or so after my diagnosis, I started researching it because I was tired of the behaviors. I was tired of the actions that weren't being taken, no matter how much I wanted to do them. It was just like this force was preventing me from doing it. The reason I do these videos is to make others out there aware that this shit is real. Doesn't really matter your background, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how good looking you are, doesn't matter how ripped you are. It applies to all of us. This shit is real, and there's a lot of people out there that have it, and there's a lot more that probably don't even have a clue that they have it. So my mission is to help you detect the signs, detect the symptoms, have some self-reflection, and understand what you're doing, no matter if it's consciously or subconsciously. So it's not that you're lazy. It's not that we're flawed. It's just a chemical imbalance that doesn't give us excitement, dopamine. We're not really going to be motivated to do it, especially during those periods and times. Examples to some common behaviors of mental dis-ease: impulsivity, making decisions without thinking, overspending, or even quitting a job just because you feel like it. People might label that as recklessness, immaturity, or even irresponsibility. Impulsivity can be a symptom of bipolar and ADHD, where emotional regulation and impulse control are impaired. The person may feel like their actions are driven by a force that they can't even control. Just imagine going through that and you're not even sure what's going on. Emotional outbursts, overreacting to small issues. It could be yelling, crying, or even shutting down completely. Others might think the person is dramatic, overly sensitive, or even just being manipulative. This can stem from bipolar mood shifts, emotional dysregulation from ADHD, or even past trauma. The outbursts aren't about the current moment. is often the result of emotional buildup from untreated mental illness, avoidance and procrastination, constantly avoiding tasks and or avoiding responsibilities altogether. People may assume that this type of person is lazy or even unmotivated. However, for someone with depression, bipolar, ADHD, or even CPTSD, tasks can feel overwhelming, oftentimes leading to paralysis. It's not about laziness. So have compassion for people that experience that type of behavior day to day. If treated, there's definitely ways that you can overcome it and manage it. So it's about the brain being overloaded and the person is unable to manage stress or failure, forgetfulness and disorganization, losing things more often, missing appointments, or even struggling to stay on top of daily tasks. Others might say that person is careless or don't even care enough to be organized. What's really happening? These are the hallmark symptoms of ADHD, where working memory and executive function are impaired, making it difficult to stay organized even with the best intention. Isolation, withdrawing from loved ones or canceling plans at the last minute. Loved ones and friends might think that the person is being selfish or uninterested in meaningful relationships. This can be a coping mechanism for someone who is experiencing depression, anxiety, or trauma, where social interactions become overwhelming or even draining. The impact on relationships and self-worth. Man, family, with these symptoms being untreated, it can lead to self-sabotage, failed relationships. They can lead to self-sabotaging behavior, isolation, or even codependency. It's amazing now when I look back at my last relationship and I can see times where I was isolating myself from my family, my loved ones, and my partner, being in the same house, same room with them, and wanting to communicate, wanting to scream out. But again, it's like this force that we can't control is holding us back from doing so. I did make changes to not combat the dis-ease, but manage it better, understand it better, embrace it, and use tools to work better with it on a day-to-day basis. So if you're someone that's dating someone like this, or someone like this is your partner, have compassion for them, have understanding, have empathy, especially if you don't know what's going on inside of their head. Even if they don't want to communicate it, try to find ways and methods to do so effectively. So I can imagine how difficult it is to co-create with someone that displays these behaviors. But once treated, once recognized, once there is awareness of it, I promise you, you can find a way around it. You can make it happen. You can overcome it, but it takes daily practice. No days off, not weekends, not holidays. It starts from within, and it starts with awareness. Shame and guilt can often accompany untreated conditions, leading to a loss of self-trust. Once you don't trust yourself to do something, you're not going to trust anybody else. A lot of these conditions and behaviors are intertwined with each other. I know it's a hard battle. I know it's tough, but you're a survivor, man. You are strong. And just imagine how much stronger you can be by recognizing these symptoms and getting them treated. The domino effect, career, health, and future goals. Untreated mental illness can affect your job performance, concentration, or even motivation. There were times that I didn't even feel like going to work because not that I couldn't perform, but all the heavy pressure that was on my mind, going through my mind during those times. It's like you feel too overwhelmed to work, too overwhelmed to perform your job duties without realizing that you're hurting yourself more in the future For example, the next paycheck contributing to your goals. You're hurting yourself by having it take longer to accomplish those. There's also physical symptoms: insomnia, fatigue, stress. They also arise when our mental health declines. So, awareness is the first step to healing. I also want to say that you're not flawed. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. It's just a chemical imbalance. You can live a happy life, a fulfilling life. You can have a happy, healthy relationship. But you first must understand how these behaviors and actions subconsciously are affecting your day to day life, your day to day quality of life, how it's affecting the ones that love you, the ones that care for you, how it's affecting your friendships, how it's affecting you. Recognizing these signs of mental illness and getting proper diagnosis is crucial for several reasons. This misunderstanding not only worsens the individual's experience, but can also damage relationships and create unnecessary shame. Mental disease is different for everyone, but the symptoms are all the same. Without awareness, these behaviors can often be confused for personal choices. This misunderstanding creates a cycle where individuals may feel shame, guilt, judged, isolated for actions that they can't even fully control. It's important to realize that these behaviors are symptoms of a much deeper struggle, not character flaws. A diagnosis will provide clarity and validation. It's like liberation, family. Like, you finally get to see how you're doing it, why you're doing it. It allows a person to understand what they're dealing with. You can put a name on it. And also, most importantly, know that you're not the only one that is going through this. A diagnosis is the first step toward getting effective treatment, such as therapy. We can meditate, we can journal, or lifestyle changes that can improve daily functioning and relationships. When untreated mental disease affects relationships, partners, and family and friends may interpret behaviors like forgetfulness, impulsivity, irritability, or emotional outbursts as intentional neglect or disinterest. Don't let it be too late, family. I know this video is going to reach someone that going to see it and step back and be like, wait a minute, that's what I'm doing. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with you. This can lead to resentment or even unnecessary conflict. Understanding the signs and getting diagnosed opens the door to communication and compromise, fostering healthier relationships built on trust and not blame. Family, I'm 51 years young. It's never too late to find this stuff out about yourself. We have to know thyself. It's never too late to start healing. It's never too late to start change. And it's never too late to start rebuilding. We have to take accountability for what we've done, even though it was a whole different version of us when we did it. But once we start taking that accountability, having some awareness, we might can't change the chaos that we've created in the past, but we can definitely make sure going forward that that same type of chaos will never arise. When I first started taking medication, the first time was with ADHD. They just gave me like Adderall. In the first week or so, I felt like this high euphoria because my body's never experienced that before. But after a while, it started dying down, a few weeks or so, and then I'll go back and then they'll up the dosage. And then same thing would happen. I go back, they'll up the dosage. After a while, but after a few months, I was like, you know what? I want to do this holistically. I don't want to have to take medication or depend on big pharma for me to get my shit right. It is an uphill battle if you plan to do that. It can be done, but it takes focus. Once I got diagnosed with bipolar, my therapist recommended me to see his medical management guy. I go see him, we discuss some things, we try to play with different things to see how they work. It's been about 5 months now, and I can say that finding the right medication definitely helps. You still have to do the mindfulness stuff. You still have to meditate. You Can't depend on the pill, but it definitely makes a difference, a huge difference. Adopting practices like spirituality, meditation, mindfulness, journaling, even if it's hiking that gives you that dopamine, do something. These things have helped me out along with the medication to choose to be a happier version of myself, to choose to not let the behaviors in my past continue to show up in my present, to choose that my future relationships would never be like my past relationships, to choose that my relationships with my friends and family are only getting stronger. This unrelenting sense of chaos and disconnection is what makes untreated mental dis-ease so debilitating. The person experiencing it feels like they're stuck in a world where they don't even fit, a life that feels overwhelming, misunderstood, and empty all at once. The key to recognizing these symptoms is awareness. The key to breaking this cycle is recognizing the symptoms, seeking help, and finding ways, creating ways to reconnect with yourself, others, and find a sense of purpose. Healing begins by understanding that the storms that we create is not who we are. It's something we're living through, and it can pass with the right support. If this information resonates with you or someone you know, please share this video. Please send them the link. Awareness can save lives and relationships. You're not alone, and healing is always possible. You are capable, you are loved, and you can cope.